The voice of the Horned Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Welcome into the TCU Hall of Fame. I'm Brian Estridge, and for the next 2 weeks, we get the chance to visit with the next 8 members of the TCU Hall of Fame. They'll soon find their portraits here on this wall at Schollmeyer Arena in Fort Worth, among the elite of TCU athletics. We start our conversation this week with the greatest quarterback of all time, some would say, in Fort Worth. Still owns multiple records, the all-time winningest quarterback and Rose Bowl champion. We begin our show with a conversation with the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. There had to be a point, Andy Dalton, where you allowed yourself to think, I'm going to be in the Letterman's Hall of Fame at TCU one day. Was there ever that chance?
You know, I think for me, I thought at some point it might happen, but I wasn't sure what all the requirements, how long you had to be out, all that kind of stuff. So when I got the call and found out I was going to be in the Hall of Fame, it was really special, a huge honor, and thankful that, you know, I got voted in. It's a really cool thing, especially with everything that I was able to accomplish at TCU and what we were able to do in my time there.
Yeah, doesn't this kind of cap it off? Isn't this sort of the capstone to that TCU career for you?
I think so. You know, I thought the Rose Bowl was going to be the thing that capped it off, but you know, fast forward a couple of years and here we are and getting to the Hall of Fame. I mean, my time at TCU was so special, and so I was, you know, thankful for, you know, to end it this way with getting to the Hall of Fame.
And you get to go in with your center, Jake Kirkpatrick. We were joking with him earlier about that's got to be fun for you to have Jake alongside. You guys were a terrific tandem for that entire run, and one more time you get to share the stage together.
For sure. Jake's one of my best friends, and so, I mean, there's no other person that I would like to share this thing with than him, getting to go into the Hall of Fame together.
You go in, obviously, this year, and it culminates a great career at TCU. When you look back on it, everyone points to the Rose Bowl, obviously. Was there another game, was there another time that stands out as one of your fond memories?
Man, I get asked this all the time. What was your favorite game in college?
Right,
what was your favorite game that you ever played? Obviously, the Rose Bowl is number one. Hard to beat that one. But I can go back and think of several of them. You can go to my junior year in 2009 when we played at Clemson. That was one that we went in there into Death Valley and you know, found a way to win that one at the end. And so that was a cool one. Then the Utah game that we played at home that year as well. I think that was just the atmosphere that, you know, that really kind of set the tone for kind of what we could be and what TCU football was at that time. So, you know, when everybody rushed the field after the game, that was a really cool moment. And so, I mean, I could go back and think of so many different games, but those are a couple that stand out right away.
You know, one of the things that I feel like might be a little underrated for you that we've never had a chance to talk about was you come out of Katy and you come to TCU, and that first year you played behind Jeff Ballard. And Jeff, who a fellow Houston boy, who probably would admit if he was sitting right here, hey, man, I wasn't the greatest quarterback athletically. But there was a guy that found a way to win every week. What was he, 19-2 as a starter? Some record like that. You and I've never really talked about what playing behind him meant to you.
Well, you see a guy, exactly what you said. He found a way to win at you know, at all times. And so I think that's just kind of, you set the standard of, okay, you're just going to stay the course of the game. There's a lot that can go on. And so I think he was kind of, you know, epitomized that was, it doesn't matter what goes on, and maybe the stats aren't exactly what you want them to be. And, you know, I definitely had games that it was the same way, but if you just kind of stay the course of the game and just trust that things are going to get done, and, you know, it's going to happen. And I think Jeff was a great example of that. And, you know, a lot of people look at, you know, the 4 years that I was there ending in the Rose Bowl, but people don't realize that we won 11 games my true freshman year. I think we won, it was 11 or 12 games the year before I got there too. So the standard was already kind of set when we got there. And so I think that that goes to show just the program, kind of where it was going and where it was trending when I got onto campus in 2006, but also just kind of what the standard for the type of players and what we were able to do once we got there.
And you go for 50 games as a starter, 42-8, still the all-time winningest quarterback, a record that'll be hard to be broken here at TCU. Was there ever a point where you were adding those numbers up, where those numbers were in your head?
From what standpoint? The number of wins that we were able to have? Yeah, I think, I was fortunate that I was able to start as a freshman. I redshirted that year and then got to play in 50 games. So, if you're going to be around that long and be able to be on some good teams like I was able to be on, I think that's one thing that is fun to look back. I talk about it all the time with guys in the locker room and stuff. I went undefeated in college, but then it was 7-5, 11-2, 12-1, 13-0. So the progression's there, and it's cool that we got better every year too.
Yeah, 13-0, number 2 ranking after that Rose Bowl as well. But I want to talk about something off the field for just a little bit, and that was a ministry that you were a part of, that you started. I want to make sure I got it. Was it Ignite? Did I get that right? Going back in time here.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so Ignite was a ministry that you and a couple of guys started that I remember running into you one day at practice, and you said, we had 900 folks Thursday night, and it was like 900. I mean, talk about the impact that had as well, and as you think back on that, the memories of it.
For sure. That was something that was cool that I kind of got to be on the beginning stages and starting that ministry. I think that's one thing we looked at TCU, and at that time, there really wasn't a ministry or a place where students could all go gather, and it basically was a worship service. We had music, and then we would have a sermon, and so we thought, this is something that I think TCU was craving. And if we could get something started, then it could really take off. And I think our first night that we actually had it was on the night of the college national championship game, the basketball game. And I think we ended up having 600 students there, 600 people. It was like unbelievable. And just to see how God worked through that whole thing. And, it continued to grow and grow. And so it was something that was cool that got to be on the ground floor of and kind of start that and have the foundation with everything and got to meet some really good people through. We look back at kind of the crew that started it, and I don't know how we all got together. God obviously ordained that group to help start it, and it really took off.
Andy, you had a great NFL career that continues now with the New Orleans Saints. You think about the run in Cincinnati, the fact that you leave there with 5 straight playoff appearances at one stretch, then obviously with the Cowboys and with the Bears and now with the Saints. This has been one hell of a run that you've been on.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I've been fortunate that I've been able to play a lot of football and been around for a while. I was talking with somebody the other day. It's like I'm now the old guy. I'm the oldest guy on our team here in New Orleans, and so it happens quick. But I've just been fortunate to be on some really good teams and be a part of some really good organizations, and we're still going. So we'll see how long we keep this thing going. I say we, obviously it's more than just me. It includes my wife JJ and then our 3 kids, and so we're still having fun. And obviously, like I was saying earlier, we just moved down here to New Orleans, so starting this next chapter in our journey.
Will your boys play football?
Yeah, if they want to. I think they've done flag football up to this point, and so we'll see where their passions lead them and what they want to do. But right now, they're playing every sport that they want to play.
That's awesome. 2 quick ones to leave you with, 2 hard ones, because you and I have always talked about some of the fun stuff. Has there been a disappointment or two in your career that stands out to you?
Are you talking TCU career? Or are you talking
overall things that you say,
career?
that one still bugs me?
Yeah, well, if we're going to talk TCU, the Fiesta Bowl, that's the one that stands out. We had everything in front of us. We could have had like 2 years where we went undefeated. And then I also went on and had Kellen Moore as my offensive coordinator when I was in Dallas, too. So luckily, I beat him the year before in the Poinsettia Bowl, but he had it that he won the Fiesta Bowl. That one was a little bit bigger of a game, but I think that one just because it would have been nice. The Rose Bowl team was really good. It was hard to say which team was more talented, if it was the Fiesta Bowl team or the Rose Bowl team. And both two really good teams. It would have been nice to end that one. There was a time, and then there's been several things that have gone on, injuries that have happened in my career that really took kind of changed the course and trajectory of what could have happened. 2015 was by far our best season in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And, got injured late in the year when we were 12-2 and had everything in front of us and wasn't able to play in the playoffs that year. And, felt like that we definitely could have made a run that year. But I mean, there's also different things that have gone on. So, I mean, there's a couple things that just initially jumped to mind.
I've known you to be a great student. You're a great dad. You're a great husband. You're a good friend to a lot of us. Obviously, a terrific player. I'm going to jokingly ask this, though. Is there anything that you're bad at?
That's a good question. Yes, there are things that I'm bad at. If we're going to talk athletically, I like to think that I'm pretty talented at most things.
Right.
And which makes it fun because going into the Hall of Fame with Jake, we compete at everything.
Right.
From the moment we stepped on campus, whether it be video games, whether it be throwing a football at a stop sign, whether it be, whatever it is, we would always compete. And I would say Jake would be one of those guys that's probably not bad at anything. Jake is one of those guys that is good at it all. And so, but I like to think that I could compete with him.
Andy Dalton, you're the best. Thanks for the time today.
Absolutely.